Good morning, everybody. This is Stacy Turner with our DMOpro Zoom. We're so excited to have you joining us. We're getting closer to conference, just a couple of weeks away, so a little over a month. But I'm finding people are still saying yes, which is interesting. So don't stop inviting. There's people that have extra tickets that they're not using, even the $75 tickets that are transferable. So we were able to find one for a new team member that's joining us. And so we just have to remember to keep inviting. So I wanted to go over a couple of things with us today. We're talking this summer about our summer sales skills series and just talking about being, stepping into that sort of embracing we are salespeople and wanting to get better at that. And a couple things I wanted to chat about that this morning was one about the mindset of just being able to discipline our disappointments. And we have such high expectations of people that we don't even realize that we're walking into these conversations with, expectations for ourselves as well as these people that we're wanting to help, right? Like, because we know what we have to offer and we want them to get it as much as we get it. We sometimes forget it took us time to really get to the place that we're at. And especially for team members, we often find it takes about 3 years. Around that time, most of the time, like Sharon and I have kind of found that to be 3 to 5 years, honestly, before someone really is like, oh, I really want to do this as a business and jump in, and like that they're really all in at that point. So we can expect a new team member, they're going to jump in and they're going to run with it, which sometimes that happens, but that's not the norm. Like, really across the board, that's not the norm of how things progress. And so we've just got to watch those expectations in our mind. So I had shared with you guys that I had talked with had some really great contacts at the fair. And that was a couple weeks ago, and I had built in some events to be able to invite them to and to stay in contact with them, right? Because I don't know, I just find it's easier to ask them to like, hey, would you like invite them into an event versus did you watch the video? Did you watch the video? Did you watch the video? Right. So of course I sent some video for them to watch, and I have them in Project Broadcast, and I didn't do a campaign where it sends them certain number of messages. I just have them tagged to where I can very quickly send the whole group an invitation, which really simplifies things on my end. I'm not having to copy paste, and send to specific people. So Project Broadcast is really helpful for that. You can automate responses to them over a period of time. I just didn't want to do that. I don't know. I just kind of felt like I'm having individual conversations with them as they go along. So I didn't, want to just keep sending them things that they're like, we just talked and now you sent me this other one that I had forgotten was automated, if that makes sense. So to me, I would rather just be able to send out in mass, an invitation. So I knew this wasn't a great week to do events because our school starts on Thursday in this area. And a lot of people go out of town on the weekend to go school shopping the weekend before. And it was tax-free weekend. But it's what worked with my schedule because of the upcoming shower next week, wedding shower, and then the wedding 2 weeks after that. So it's just, that's the beauty of hosting your own events, right? Like, you get to do it around your schedule. I knew it wasn't going to be the best week. And oftentimes we're looking for the best time to do an event, and there is no best time. And back to school doesn't apply to everyone, right? Like, not everyone I spoke to had kids that were going back into school. So that's kind of that beauty of you're hosting the event, then you get to choose what works for your schedule, and you're not dependent on somebody else's events that they're scheduling for you to invite to. So it's another reason why you want to host your own. So I have 3 set up. One was a coffee chat. It was on a Saturday morning. Was this past Saturday. And then 2 was the sourdough event I did last night. And then the 3rd one is I'm introducing Wendy Campbell on Tuesday night, and we're doing street taco dinner because I'm telling you, say street tacos, people come to the event. Like, it's just a taco from like, it's meat that I cook in the crock pot, and it's a little tortilla. It's smaller than a burrito. I don't know why people love it, but they do, and they're great. Look up street tacos online if you want some recipes for it, but it like draws people in. And so they can come to dinner before, like if they're coming straight from work, it's like one less excuse, right? That we can help them overcome. So I do love to do that. So that's Tuesday night. And mind you, like the shower is Saturday at my house. Like everyone's like, what are you doing all these events? And the point is, if I can always say I've got too much in my schedule, but it's like, if I don't do events, then I have really no reason to keep reaching out to these people. And I know that they're warmer contacts because of the conversation I just had with them at the fair. I don't want to lose that connection. And so if I waited until after the wedding, that's a very long time before I'll be able to do an event. And I've lost that, like, who is that person that's inviting me to this, where I'm still fresh in their mind. So it's not always the best timing. And if we're looking for perfection, that will keep us from just putting a date into the calendar. So I wanted to kind of give you guys some updates on how those 3 events have gone. So one, I've got, I think it was about 36, maybe it was more than that, 40, 42, something like that, contacts from the fair. These were real conversations I had, not just people wrote their names, but I really had a back and forth conversation about their health needs. What were they looking for? These were deeper conversations and connections with most of them. So I was able to invite them to those 3 events. I got 22 responses back to the like invitation to Saturday to the coffee chat of, I'm sorry, I won't be able to make it, but thanks for thinking of me. I would like to come to the next one, or something like that. We're out of town. So to me, that's a win, right? Like they didn't show up, they couldn't come, but that's a win because their interest is still there and they want to come to the next one. At least I got some dialogue back. You know, it's worse when you get like nothing and it's just radio silence and there's no response back. So I was thrilled to have 22 people respond back from that list of like 42. So let's just say half of them responded with, thanks for the invitation, but I'm not able to come. Let me know when the next one is. So guess what? I had a next one, right? Like it's important to have the next one that you invite. So then each of those people, I responded back to them, oh, no problem. Do you think you guys can come on Tuesday night? I'd like to invite you to dinner at my house. Again, that sounds so personal, right? Like I'm inviting you to come to my house for dinner. We're having street tacos. We're going to be talking, listening to Wendy Campbell. I'll be introducing her. It's a lot of fun. Would love for you guys to come. Bring the kids if you need to. Like we'll figure out something with the kids. And so that was the conversations I started last night, and just inviting them. And then I will send them another invitation tomorrow. Let's see, because it is Tuesday. I'll probably send out a group one to everyone and say, sorry if I'm duplicating this and I already invited you, but I just wanted to make sure you remember we got this event. Like I'll just kind of word it that way because they don't know I'm sending into a group chat, and I don't really want them to know that, right? Like I want it to stay personal, but I also recognize I'm probably going to duplicate that invitation because I just did, but yet there's something great about that repetition of reminders anyway. So I think how I word it will be fine. So that's how those kind of that event has gone. Saturday, I had 2 or 3 team members that came, and it was no prospects, but one of the team members, she hasn't been active for quite a long time. But so we just got to chat and catch up, and she met some of the other girls that were there, and that's fine too, right? Like we could have had the back room packed like we have before with standing room only, and sometimes it's just team members that show up. But can you embrace those that come? You know, I could have been like, darn it, all of those conversations, everyone I talked to, none of them were able to come. You know, these event things don't work and it's just wasting my time. No way, right? Stay positive and just be thankful for those that come. Thankful that you've got some team members, and it could have just been Jarrett and I there drinking coffee together. Great date morning together. So it's just okay to embrace the number of people that come or don't come. So the second event was the sourdough event, and everyone that came to the sourdough event yesterday, I knew two of the girls. One was a past customer, and then one was a neighbor that was also a canceled customer. So she came and she's been trying to come. And then I vaguely knew like had met some of the other girls a couple of times, like here and there, but I don't know them. And then the rest I didn't know at all. And so that was kind of fun. What's funny is none of them were from the fair contacts I made. Not even one of them. So it's like, where did all of these people come from? Well, some were on lists that had wanted to come before, and then I posted it on Facebook, and I have an Artesia Healthy Meal Prep group that I had posted the event in. So we do salad jar events in there, the lunchbox events, and it's crazy how many people are watching that will say, I want to come, I just haven't been able to, but I do want to come sometime. We have like 350 people in there in that group. So from that, I had people that responded they want to come to the sourdough. So it's a great thing about sourdough events. People show up for those. Like, it's not about the sourdough, it's about the health conversation you're going to have with them and the Juice Plus that you're going to present to them as part of their, like, it's a Juice Plus event. I'm there teaching sourdough, but it's a Juice Plus event. So just make sure you're balancing that to where you're not feeling like, well, I had somebody say the other day to me, I just talk about Juice Plus at the beginning and kind of the health stuff. I just want to get that out of the way. And I'm like, I just want to get the bread making out of the way so that we can talk on the health side of things. Like, that's where the impact is going to be on their health. I'm not thinking Juice Plus is a side portion of the sourdough event. The Juice Plus Health Talk gut health part is like the most important part. That's why I have them there. That's where I can make the biggest impact on their health, right? So I'm not thinking that's a side thing. That is the event. Sourdough is the side thing. Like, sourdough has brought them to the table, but it's really the impact of that health discussion that we're going to have. So from that, the girl that had been a customer in the past, I had asked her, like, what was her experience with Juice Plus? Because I knew she had a great story. We've talked about it often. So she just said, like, she shared her story and she was like, I don't know, I've just kind of gotten distracted and I want to order, but I guess I'm just lazy and I just haven't done it. So I just handed her an order form and I said, lazy days are over. Let's get you started again. And she was like, yes. And then everyone kind of just laughed about it. She filled out the order form, right? Like, it was fine. And then one of my other canceled customers was there. She was nodding her head like, this is the first event I've ever been able to get her to. She never came to any of the health events. So I could tell like she was getting the bigger picture of this, and she has a lot of gut health issues. And so my hope is through this, we can just get into a deeper conversation. And then another girl that I vaguely knew was there. She and I met on Facebook Marketplace. I bought a bed from her for our Airbnb. She was moving here from Texas, and we just connected like right away. Like, we were best friends within like 5 minutes of being at this storage unit. Our husbands are talking. We're just like, I'm welcoming her to the community. And so of course I got her Facebook information, right? Like, I think she asked me, what do you do? I told her I help families simplify nutrition. It's through a company called Juice Plus. And she was like, oh yeah, I know about that. I had a neighbor that sold that. And I was like, great. So we just kind of talked a few seconds and then moved on. I, of course, was like, let me get connected with you. I want to connect you with some people, found each other on Facebook. I had some conversations with her about Juice Plus, but she was like, no, kind of thanks, but no thanks. She didn't really want to come to events. Yesterday, she was one that asked for an order form. And she brought two friends to the event, who one of them was on Juice Plus through somebody else, and the other one wasn't and was interested. So like, isn't that interesting? Like, she asked for the order form. So you just don't know who's watching and like what the deeper conversation that can happen through those sourdough events is going to bring to the table. So the girl that was the customer that had canceled, she ordered for her and her husband. So I said, as she stayed a little bit longer, she has 4 little ones. And I think she was just enjoying her time with us. And I said, you might want to do what I do. Actually, Natasha and Kim, we both do this. We pay like a $52 fee each year, and then our own orders are under ourselves. So we manage our own orders, and you get 10% back on those. And for the rest of this month, it's only $10. So you're going to be managing your own orders anyway through our new system that's coming through Shopify. So I would still alert you to the order, but you would be the only one that needs to change it. So you might as well get paid to do that versus me. We kind of laughed about it, and she was like, okay, that's great. So I said, all right, here's the link to sign up. And then I said, we were talking, I asked, hey, are you going to conference, to one of the girls? Because Kim's driving, like, you should go with her. And then she's like, what is this conference? So I tell her, and she's like, oh, I would like to go to that. And I was like, yeah, you're in. And she said, I get to, because I paid the $10. I was like, yeah, there's all kinds of great things you get to do because of our team. Like, you get to go travel with us, and we were just laughing about it. And she was like, okay, I'm really going to look into this. There's room for me. And Kim was like, well, my car is kind of small. And I was like, Kim, use my car. Like, I'm not going to be here. I'm driving. Like, you take my car. You can fill up the whole car. It's a large SUV. Like, and she was like, okay, I'll take your car. So bring it on. Let's see who else we can get to join us. So I say all of that because we're overcoming people's objections at little levels all the time that you may not even be recognizing, right? Like, what do you have to do to help them get to the event, to get there, to, post in a way that's just, building curiosity, but answering little questions that they might have about the products or about, what we do, and just keeping it positive in your mindset. One last story I wanted to share with you guys was the girl that became a partner at the fair. I had told you guys that she had come by, she had ordered from somebody else, didn't know who the partner was. We had like an hour-long conversation. It was fabulous. Like, she was really pretty excited. She was a teacher. She did sign up to be a partner. It went through. I helped her place their orders that day. And then I didn't see her for the rest of the fair. Like, one day she kind of walked by and I waved at her. And I was like, she'll do really well because she already has a Juice Plus experience. I think she's going to be great. I wanted to update you guys. I've not heard from her, not even once, not a text message back. Like, I've texted her a couple times. I called her and left her a message. So it really is her phone number because it was her voice and her name on the message. Nothing. Like, calm out. Like, there's no response back from her. I have no idea. Like, did she have a car accident and she's gone? Like, I don't know her, right? She went back to Oklahoma. I have no idea, but there's been zero response back. So again, you guys can think like, oh, people that are national marketing directors, every conversation they have is just fabulous, and it goes right to somebody who's just going to jump right into the business. There's nothing I did wrong with her. I didn't steer her wrong. I didn't say the wrong things. There's no reason why she hasn't responded back to me, except for she doesn't want to. I don't know why. I cannot answer it, but I could sure let that get into my head, right? I could start saying, see, people sign up for this as a partner and then they don't do anything. And it's because of this and this and this, and because I didn't do the right things or I didn't say the right things. This whole team building, I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to invite, just get customers. And then I'm not going to worry about building a team because it doesn't work out anyway. How many team members have national marketing directors gotten that just did nothing or just ordered for themselves? Everyone's a blessing, no matter how many orders they have. And you don't know. I don't know her story. I don't know her. And I can't make her respond back to me. There's nothing I can do about that. So can I manage that in my own mind? That could have kept me from inviting this girl at the sourdough event to be a part of our team, right? And I don't know if this girl's going to do anything, but she deserves the right to know that that's an option and an invitation to our amazing community. And she could go gangbusters with it, or she could do nothing and have her 2 orders, or she could get 10 orders over time. I don't know what that is. I can't manage her actions. I can manage my expectations. I can manage what I say to myself in my head. I can manage my ability to just bounce back, that grit that just keeps going, that says, you know what, I'm here for the long haul. I'm not here just for this event. If I base my business on one event and the outcome of one event, or 3 conversations that I have with someone, or like small picture thinking, This is a marathon. We have to think of the totality of all of those conversations over a large, span of time, that all of it add up, all of those customer orders, all of those team members that are just doing a little bit, and the few that really run with this, and they get a bunch of people that just do a little bit. It's okay. It's really the beauty of how this business works. I mean, it really is. It builds that security, a very wide base of people that are ordering Juice Plus into that paycheck that you have. So, don't despise the day of small beginnings, of those little conversations that you're just not sure how they're all going to go, and can you manage that? And as a sales rep, as a person who has a sales mindset, that's a thing. Like, my son does a lot of cold calling, and people hang up on him. I don't have Juice Plus people hanging up on me. He's talking to people that just kind of click on an ad, and then he's got to try to get them into a conversation, and it's brutal. Like, there were days at the end of those conversations, he's just like downtrodden. I was like giving him a massage, like, you got this, Colin, like, keep going. You're learning so much. Like, just keep working with this. It's hard. It's mentally hard. It's not heavy boulders that we're lifting, right? Like, it's not hard work like that, but it's the hard mindset work that has to do, that really is a reflection of us. If we start letting other people's actions affect our esteem, like how we think of ourselves, self-esteem has to come from us, right? It's not other esteem. Like, that's not a thing. People don't say others' esteem, but yet we let their image or their thoughts, or what perceived thoughts, honestly, or their inaction affect us, where that has to come from us. It has to come from a deeper place within us, that this is what I want. This is what I know to be true. This is what I'm working towards. This is my goal. And I'm not going to let one event or one conversation, or even 10 events or 10 conversations dictate if I'm going to stop doing the activity and not get the things I want in my life. So be thinking, what are those things? Having that bigger picture, what do you want this to bring to you, is going to fuel those smaller conversations. And it's going to it's going to keep those smaller conversations from feeling so big, when you have that big picture mindset of what you want this to bring in your life, because you're here for the long haul. You're not just here for the one conversation. How many people have a couple of conversations that don't go well, and then they're out, or they have a couple of events that nobody shows up? Like, you think you're the only one that has people that don't show up? You're wrong. Like, everybody does. It's just part of it. It doesn't have to be a reflection on you. We're always evaluating, is there something I need to change to do better with, or whatever, but it doesn't have to reflect on you so deeply that it keeps you from moving forward. Don't let somebody's inactivity steal your joy, steal your dreams of what you want this to be. Like, their procrastination doesn't have to be yours. Their inability to make a decision doesn't have to affect yours. Like, you just keep moving forward, plan the next event, have the next conversation, and you just don't know which one's going to turn out. And yeah, we would all hope that this gal at the fair that I had the conversation with would have just taken off into this beautiful, like, why couldn't she have gotten to Partner Plus? She had orders, like, she had even people in her mind she wanted to order. The conversation was fine. I don't know what happened to her. I don't know who got into her head, who told her something. I don't know. I really have no idea, but I can't let that stop me from having the next conversation. So I would love to hear from you guys. Have you ever had an experience like that, where like something could have stopped you, but you just persevered, had the next conversation, next event or something, and it went really well? Maybe something you guys have learned to help you overcome those times where you're just frustrated with something. What keeps you moving forward in those conversations and that activity? You guys share with me.
I'll go quick if I have coverage.
Yep.
So last I don't know, 2 Sundays ago, I guess, I was talking to a friend, And she's like, I need that stuff. And I was not calling her for that. I was calling her to check on her. So she signed up for as a partner. She ordered her stuff. A couple days later, she called me and said, oh, a friend wants to order it too, and blah, blah, blah. I think I can do this. And I swear, like the next day when I'm checking on her, she said, Kayla, her daughter, she's like, Kayla told me that's MLM. I shouldn't do it and I need to get out of it. And blah, blah, blah. I'll pay you for what you gave Kane. And I'm like, wow, that was in a message. And I talked to her. I tried to talk to her. I haven't gotten a hold of her to actually have a conversation yet. But it was like, okay. And then my upline, Cindy, was supposed to come. She had a fire in her house last Tuesday, I think. Couldn't come to Maine. And she's like, are you still going to have the event? I'm like, yep, I've already decided I'm still having this event. And so, long story short, I invited a lot of people. 5 other people showed up. One's ordered. I have 2 other people. The other 2 were already customers, but kind of wavering customers, not full in. But the other 2 are still looking at the product. So I feel like that was still a win.
Absolutely. It was a win that you still did the event. Like even if nobody came that you still you kept going, right? So Lisa, that's a great example. Thank you. Patty, go ahead.
I have 3 things, Stacy. One is there's a book out there that some people have read and really love is Go for the No. It's just, it's okay to get no's. It's just next, right? And maybe it's not now. And then Jeff Roberti used to talk about how when he was waiting tables, he'd have a handful of quarters in a pocket and he had to talk to so many people a day and he had to take a quarter and put it in the other pocket until those quarters were all the way moved. He wouldn't stop talking to people. And then the other is Lauren LaHave. How many times did she say no? And look at her now.
Yeah, no to the product, no to the business. Last minute came to a conference, caught the vision. I mean, Jeff Roberti, you don't think he had said all the right things? She didn't hear it until it was the right timing for her. So yeah, Jim Rohn has an excellent training on that. If you guys never listened to anything by Jim Rohn, he's fabulous. Look him up on YouTube. He's passed away, but he has some great training on mindset. And he talks about like sowing seeds. And in this case, he would say, the birds got them. Like, that where there's, the seeds that are sown and you throw them out and the birds get them. Like, I think a bird got her. I don't know what happened to that conversation, but I can't control the birds, right? I can just control me. But he talks a lot about don't take that class. And so Sharon and I tell each other that like something negative comes in. Now think about like this negative thought comes in. If it was a class that you choose to go into the room where the speaker is talking about this and you pick a seat and you take out a paper and you start taking notes on them, do you really need to give that thought that much time? Like, don't take that class. Like, why go in there? Why give it your time? Why allow it to like grow in your mind? And I will say that in my head, I'm not going to take that class. I'm not taking that class. So that's a classic Jim Rohn quote. But yes, he's fabulous. And he talks about that, sowing the seeds and the birds get some, the birds got them, the sun squelches some of them, it's just part of it. I mean, that's a biblical teaching too of sharing your faith. And so why wouldn't something like that apply to this as well? Anyone else want to share? Alita, put it in the Dropbox. She may have already found, or into the chat, may have already found that audio for us. Jim Rohn, ROHN, he's fabulous. We would have our teenagers listen to him when we were traveling. It was so good. But it was good. Go ahead, Tap.
That's a health way to start. I think that it's the same whether we're talking to customers or we're talking to prospective business people or any other human being in your world. If they aren't open to the information, so you're not aiming it to something that they're specifically concerned about, they don't hear it. It's just words. And so as I'm trying to build my team and focusing more on that, I'm getting much further in my conversations with prospective business people. And the ones that do join me are already down the path that you have to take to get from where you start to where you have the big picture. And sometimes it's only been a 20-minute conversation. Sometimes it's been spread over months. I'm sure you all have similar situations. But try to speak it to something specific for them, not what you think they would want because they're healthy, they work out, so they must want X. But find out from them what's the hot button, because people look healthy and normal and happy, and they have trauma going on in the background that they're not telling you about. If you can connect with them in their life, then you're going to get much further in the conversation and get a more committed answer, I think.
I think
And I would like feedback on that.
yeah, I think brilliantly said, Tap. That's exactly it. And sometimes people don't even know what they want, right? So
Right.
as we're asking questions, we're trying to help them discover that when it's they come up with the solution themselves, that's what's helpful. It's getting time with people to be able to even get into those conversations to where you're reaching that other space. Somebody may be able to get to that because in 20 minutes, because they've already been thinking about that. They've already identified that. It could
They
take
went into that conversation with intention.
right. Yeah, they were
Right?
already
Same
looking
thing.
for that.
That name was in their DMO planner, and they looked at it and said, what's it going to take from me to move that name from new connections to follow-up? And they went into the conversation with that intention, and so they're much more likely to get there, rather than today I'm going to share with 6 people. Today I'm going to connect with Christine.
Yeah, with intention, all the conversations, great questions, help this become what they're like, help this to become the solution to their problem that they identified. And I did get that book that I was telling you guys about, the questions from this guy, Jason. And every time I sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm in, I love it. I'm writing, I'm highlighting, I'm looking at it. And then, something else takes my attention away. But there's some really great questions, and I am going to bring that information to you guys as we learn a better way of embracing the questions to help them identify their own problem and their own solution through the series of questions that we ask them to help them identify those. And that can be hard when you've got, seconds of, or minutes of somebody walking by a booth, but can we get to a deeper place? So did you want to add something else, Tap?
Yeah, it's your training on these leaning in questions that's gotten me to that point. We just need to apply these leaning in questions to everything.
Yeah. It fits a lot of relationships in our lives, right? Excellent. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. I'll stop this recording.